Psychonauts is, in my opinion, Double Fine's best work to date, and we're talking about a studio that houses some of the most talented and creative minds in the entire industry. So what makes it so special? Let's find out. The first thing you're going to notice is the story. Mostly how batshit banana crazy it is. You play as Rasputin, a 10-year-old who ran away from the circus to a summer camp for psychics in order to become a psychonaut. From there you will explore the minds of your camp counselors in order to receive psychic training, and eventually a larger mystery will unfold that I don't want to go into too much detail on for the sake of spoilers, but I will say that the second half of the game has you exploring the minds of giant sea monsters and crazed mental patients, one of whom believes himself to be secretly a milkman that the government is constantly spying on and searching for. There really is no way for me to describe the story other than absolutely fucking brilliant. The characters and settings you visit are all quirky, vibrant, colorful, and fresh. The art style is also unique, with many characters looking quite grotesque, but still retaining some amount of charm in their designs and characterization through the game's use of color and the quirky, consistently humorous dialogue. One of my favorite moments of the game comes pretty early on, so I don't feel too bad about spoiling it, but if you really want to play this game completely unspoiled, perhaps plug your ears and click this annotation.
I'm telling you for the last time, no! I would never do that. I could never kill everyone. Oh, hi, Raz.
And that moment pretty much summarizes what you can expect from this game in terms of humor. Dry, clever, and dark, which is exactly the kind of humor I love, so perhaps I'm a little biased, but whatever. The gameplay is exactly what you would expect from a 3D platformer. It's something of a collectathon, if you will. You visit various worlds and collect several different items within all of them, all of which are based on some tenet of psychology. Figments of the imagination are your basic experience points, which you use to level up and gain new psychic abilities, as well as upgrades for your old ones. You can also collect Psy cards, 9 of which you can attach to a purchased Psy core to make a Psy challenge marker, which will instantly level you up. You can also find some Psy challenge markers scattered throughout the camp overworld. You can find arrowheads, which function as currency, mental cobwebs, which give you extra figments and open up different areas, and emotional baggage, which will reveal hidden parts of the psyche you are currently exploring. The other major gameplay mechanic is your psychic powers, which you will have to use to solve various puzzles. Telekinesis can move objects around the world, pyrokinesis can light things on fire, levitation makes you, well, levitate, and so on and so forth. A pro to this is that the game constantly forces you to use all of the powers at your disposal. It doesn't just give you some new power in one world and then have all the puzzles for that world revolve around that one power a la Zelda, but constantly makes use of your entire library of powers, especially towards the tail end of the game. One negative is that the game was clearly designed for consoles, and the UI used to make this constant swapping of powers was not changed at all for the PC version of the game. That means it uses radial menus. Alright, so this game gets something of a free pass since it's 10 years old, but listen up, game developers. This shit on PC is obnoxious. Use a hotbar. It's not that difficult of a change, and it makes your games 1000% more playable. Now that that's out of the way, let's talk about why the gameplay is disappointing. Note that I didn't say bad, just disappointing. So the level design in this game is straight up some of the best I've ever seen. Every world is inventive and refreshing and clever and just, fuck, it's so good. So I'd really rather be doing something other than running around collecting useless stuff and solving the occasional light puzzle. I'm also going to go out on a limb here and say that collectathon isn't the dirty word it's often made out to be. If your game's mechanics are designed around collecting shit and you make it fun, then awesome. I've seen it done well in games like Banjo-Kazooie and Mario 64, but here, I don't know. I can't 100% put my finger on what it is, but I just found myself growing bored of the gameplay, which is unfortunate because I was completely engrossed by the story and characters. The other thing I have to mention is that the PC version is buggy as fuck. Like seriously, I got stuck in level geometry and objects and textures faded in and out of existence multiple times. Although I never experienced any issues with crashing or frame rate drops, the other random bugs were enough to hinder my final impression of the game, so do yourself a favor and pick this up on console. So you notice how I keep mentioning the second half of the game as being a better example than the first? Yeah, that's because the second half of the game is way better than the first. I mean, don't get me wrong, the beginning is good too, but the second half of the game is like legendary good. The second half of the game is why this is considered a huge cult classic and consistently tops people's lists of games that need a sequel. So if you start playing the game and aren't really just feeling it, just wait, you'll know when you get to what I'm talking about. So I guess in summary, Psychonauts is a brilliant game that is marred by a little boring gameplay and some technical problems, but you really need to give it a try. Pick it up on a console and at least play the second half of the game and see if it's for you. If I had to guess, it probably is.
sun in my eyes and my gun on my hip. Paranoia on my mind, got my mind on the